Alright. 6 Alchemy Brothers. What do we have? Explorers Anthology 2 Basic Wasteland. Cool. Patch notes. So we're in the player inbox, and the player inbox is this new thing here. So we got a little, sort of like the inbox to your email. And this will probably go right to the browser. If I click that too many times, it'll probably try and open up my browser 10 dozen times. So we won't worry about that. Read that later. Let's see. I'm having a delayed reaction when I try and press the buttons on stuff. And the question is that my inbox interface? Okay, there we go. Midweek Magic. That's what we're here for. Oh, there you go. If any of the text that passes by in the loading screen goes by too fast for you, you can always go to your inbox now and you can just read through everything that you want. If any of these things pass by on the loading and you're interested in it, we can just look at all that stuff. It's got the tips, it's got the history. It might take you a while to cycle through. Okay, so we'll exit out of that. We are in Midweek Magic Into the Future. If it took a while to load today on Tuesday, it's because they were setting up your new inbox with that kind of stuff. So they're interested in the release of the Alchemy cards, and it's related to the Brothers War. And we have 4 different pre-made decks that they have made, and we're going to run through them all. I guess we'll open up Power Stones aplenty just so you can see what we're dealing with here. We've got we don't get to keep these in our collection, okay? But they're including, like, here's Voltage Surge, a common from Kamigawa, Cityscape Leveler, a mythic rare from Brothers War. Here's a new Alchemy card, Warzone Duplicator prototype. When it enters the battlefield, return target creature and opponent controls with power less than Warzone Duplicator's power to its owner's hand. If that creature wasn't a token, conjure a duplicate of it into your hand. So that's kind of cool. The Alchemy cards are always something that you probably would be very difficult to duplicate on paper magic. These are like digital only changes that it's okay to program a computer to keep track of all the code, but it would be a real pain or nigh impossible to keep track of if you're just playing with regular cards. Here, this one's probably not too bad to keep track of, but when Hercule's Prodigy enters the battlefield, create a tap Power Stone token. Whenever it attacks you, you may pay 3 mana. If you do, it can't be blocked this turn, and it perpetually gets +2/+0. So you can turn that into a 3/4, a 5/4, and then a 7/4, depending on how long it stays on the battlefield. Okay, you know the Horned Sword Seekers. Okay, here we go. Yoshin Courier, 4 copies of this. Whenever it attacks, choose one that wasn't chosen during last combat. So this is why it's an Alchemy card, because you're going to have different choices and there's memory involved, right? The computer has to remember what your last choice was so that it only gives you the other thing to do the next combat. So you can create a tap Power Stone token, or you can seek an artifact card with mana value equal to the number of Power Stones you control. And those are the Alchemy cards. So we're going to go back and we're going to run through a battle. Let's see, resume. Power Stones aplenty is already selected. And if you're waiting in line somewhere and you don't have time to actually play a game yourself, you can get an idea of if you like this particular kind of deck. And we're going to just keep what we got. We got the Sheevan Reef, which actually does damage to you, but we'll put it down now because if we need to do an emergency 2 damage to something, we will. Why not? Let's just get rid of it now. We are in a mirror match. Power Stones aplenty. Don't need sacrifice an artifact. We just need to get rid of the thing. Alright. And now we put out our own. See if it lasts or if we're going to fall prey to a voltage surge. Hey, look at that. It really is a mirror match, isn't it? Okay, we will put you down. Sure. Let's just do it again. Circle's Prodigy. Okay. I've got one of those too. Only thing is they can attack now if they want to. No, they're going to put in Thran Spider. So we couldn't block it. But we can't... No, that's not the one. We can put this down and get rid of it now so it doesn't grow any bigger. Do we keep that or play it? I guess we'll keep it up for now. Because we couldn't cast 8 anyway. Or no, we could now because this is 2. We can do Cityscape Leveler next. Nice. Scry one and draw a card, and he gets a 4/4. I kind of don't care about... Should I care about that? I guess we'll destroy the 4/4? But now he has enough to bring out his own Cityscape Leveler. So we're going to have fun with that now. Is he looking at... Oh, he just scoops. Okay. Well, we won our mirror match. We didn't really get a chance to sample the alchemy cards, did we? Okay, but we got 4 pre-made decks, so we're going to move ahead. If the computer will process everything. Okay, we're going to switch to the next one is Rank and File. We'll let you view the deck real quick. It's a soldier deck. Brothers War is keen on introducing a lot of soldiers, so you got 4 copies of Fortified Beachhead. So you can have the land come in untapped if you reveal a soldier card. We got the Adhikar Waste, 1 Otawara, 1 Aganjo. Let's see, you're confronted by robbers, 4 copies of that. Here we go. Alchemy card, Patch Plate Resolute. When it enters or leaves the battlefield, you get a boon. And that's when you cast your next creature spell, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it, and this artifact soldier has unearthed, so you can also bring it back. Elspeth's Command, this is another one with memory, because at the beginning of combat, you choose one choice that wasn't chosen during your last combat. So you can create a soldier artifact creature token you see to the right, or up to 1 target soldier perpetually gets +1/+1 and gains flying, or choose a soldier card in your hand, it perpetually gets +1/+1 and gains vigilance. So 4 of those enchantments, relatively cheap, right? Only 3. The rest of this is all the regular soldier type stuff from Brothers War. So not a whole lot of alchemy cards, but we're gonna play it. So far, I've sampled all of these once already, and I think Rank and File is actually the weakest of the 4. The soldiers individually are not that tough. If your opponent has a decent hand, they can prevent you from building up enough momentum. So because you still got toughness 1, toughness 1, toughness 1. Most of these countering decks that are pre-made can handle that. going up against a Reanimator deck, so maybe it's going to be slow. They lost their Planeswalker at least, but they have a way of bringing Forgefire Automaton out of the graveyard if we give them a chance. So let's not give them a chance. Did they lose any lands? They did. We don't. I guess we're not going to attack. This deck does have some removal they can use on us.
Happy to help, but I'm taking the credit when we win.
And their deck is kind of...
I've always hated crowds.
Their deck is kind of based upon discard and sacrifice. But now they got to guard against their Planeswalker dying. And we're waiting. You already made all your moves. You tapped out. Did they lose connection? It's kind of ridiculous that they gave us 4 Liliana of the Veils in that deck. This is the one we'll switch to next. The whole premise is throwing a bunch of high-powered creatures in your graveyard and then managing to bring them back to the battlefield for cheaper. Alright, we are going to bring this one out. They'll get the +1 from the boon. If our opponent lets us have our turn, what are they? How can they hold priority? What? There's nothing for them to do. Do they go full control? You're irritating. This is a soldier deck when it's firing on all cylinders. You get enough of them out fairly cheap. See what they can do. You go ahead and hit there. They should block, and that means they'll get a land back. But that'll get rid of the second Planeswalker. Oh, just go, or there's no reason to... Come on. Why would they do that? They could have at least killed the recruitment officer.
I'll be back with friends.
Why would they leave the recruitment officer alive when they didn't need to? Okay, they put the right land back anyway. If they can't remove somebody or put down a creature, I think we have lethal next turn. Can we pump him up now? No, he has to be exiled from the graveyard itself. Okay. So can I do that now? Yes, I can. Still makes a pretty big hit. That's not enough.
Enough with the mysteries. I've come for answers.
I guess I'll get rid of my little token.
Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
And they scoop. Just before the end. Okay. I know I said that was the weakest one, but we handled that pretty well. Okay, moving on to the next one. After we check out what card I got. Contortionist Troop. Okay. Okay, this was the one we just faced, Reforged Monsters. We'll view it real quick. They gave us 4 Titan of Industries to play around with and 4 Olivia Crimson Brides. Is that not fun or what? Okay, the one in the middle is Forgefire Automaton. It's an alchemy card, prototype again, like the other alchemy card. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card with power less than Forgefire Automaton's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. Its base power perpetually becomes equal to Forgefire Automaton's power. So if you've got the 3/2 prototype out, whatever you bring out is going to start off with the same kind of base. But if it's 8/5, then even your Titan of Industry is going to have a base power of 8 instead of 7. Let's see, ways to get everything out of the graveyard. We've got Gix's command to return 2 creatures from the graveyard to your hand. 3 Digraph Rebirths, which have flashback, so that's 6 potential chances to get your creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. Discard to throw the big creatures into the battlefield. 1 copy of Mishra's Command from Brothers War. Here's an alchemy card, just 1 copy. Perilous Iteration. Seek a card with mana value 2 or less and a card with mana value 3 or greater. Discard those cards at the beginning of your next turn's end step. So the cheap card, looking for you to play one of these, and then the one that might be bigger than 3 might be one of these that you'd be happy to discard if you don't already have the mana to just direct cast it. Circle of Lands allows you to mill and populate your graveyard with creatures, and when it dies you can return some of the land that's milled back to your hand and still get the land. Undead Butler, people should be familiar with that. Mill 3 cards. When it dies you can exile and return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. 2 removals with Infernal Grasp, and Bonecaller Cleric, which you can sacrifice and return a creature from the graveyard to the battlefield. So 4 chances there, 3 to 6 chances there. It's all about getting the stuff out of the graveyard. This one, I want to say it's hit or miss. It's much more of a gamble on if you can get everything ready in time. If you can, it can be completely overpowering, so devastating it makes you laugh. Other times it's frustrating because the pieces do not come together in time to counter what your opponent's doing. Alright, we start with the swamp. We're facing the 4th deck, the one we haven't faced yet, or played with yet. First blood is ours. We're winning. And use the pain land. Alright. We use our legendary land instead of channeling it. This deck has a lot of cheap cards in it. Has a lot of 1 mana drops. We'll show you that deck list next. And we do have the alchemy card right there, which we could summon for 3. But I think we're going to do our Planeswalker deal here. Discard a card.
Nobody knows Dominaria's shadows like me.
And we are a long way from being able to direct cast Titan of Industry, so he's going away. But we could get him back before we even have
I'm
7
tired
mana
of your
available.
secrets.
You're throwing away a Piece It Together. This is an alchemy card. If the intensity becomes 4, you take an extra turn. Discarded Ruinous Vortex. Okay, let's see. What do we need this color to be? We've got our red, so I guess we need green? Okay. And, no. I'm going to put down the Druid. We're going to mill some stuff. There goes a Titan, which is excellent. 2 Titans in there. Although we did lose a Bonecaller. We're going to have each player discard a card again. We'll get rid
You
of...
won't be outsmarting me.
We'll get rid of the automaton. They got rid of Micromancer. I'm not sure they have an easy way to deal with the Planeswalker. They need to get a board presence. It won't be easy. Especially if they're throwing away the things that can give them a board presence. There we go. Okay, here's the alchemy card. Legendary Human Artificer. When it enters the battlefield, conjure Midnight Clock. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an hour counter on each permanent you control named Midnight Clock, and the opponent loses 1 life. Discard a card, please. We have 2 of those, so...
We all have things we'd rather forget.
But I don't think we have an easy way to get rid of Midnight Clock, do we? I think we have a Bojiju legendary card. But we don't want him to cast any more spells. So we'll get rid of him and we'll just attack. And it would be nice to get a little more land so we could actually just direct cast something. Oh, remove 3 loyalty counters.
You chose the wrong day to cross me.
Lonely End, you have to pay attention and remember if you were the starting player or not. Right? No, I think that happens no matter what. I think that happens no matter what. Okay. So... sacrifice that creature.
Off you go.
If we get a land, we're in business. If not, we'll just start discarding again, I guess. We do have land in the graveyard, so if we do manage to get rid of this guy, maybe we can... I think it's a woman, actually. Female gnome. If we can get rid of her, then maybe we can get that 6 land back in an easy manner. Okay, intensity goes to 3. Micromancer, probably going to bring out the next piece it together card, right? They have enough to spend for it. Yeah, called it. So they get to draw 1 more card, but they don't get to take the next turn yet. There you go. Okay, that's your turn. That is your turn. This gives us this. And we make you discard a card, which we don't have
Drop
to now.
it.
And Olivia is another way to bring stuff from the graveyard back to the battlefield. Just in case you didn't know. Plus she flies, so don't need to worry about blocking. And what comes back? Not Olivia. How about the automaton? Comes back automatically as the 8/5. You don't even have to... It doesn't even give you the choice. It just makes it the default. And they don't wait to see if they can handle it. They are gone. That's what I mean about hit or miss. If you get set up before your opponent does, odds are you're going to win with that deck. Okay, final deck. Tick-Tock. We just caught a glimpse of it. And we actually saw the alchemy cards. There's Risco Clockmaker, so it gives you a Midnight Clock, which I like that. Micromancer lets you get all of these 1-drops back. And they have 1 Gale Conduit of the Arcane to bring a target instant or sorceries from your graveyard to your hand, which can allow for all sorts of neat tricks. They've got 1 board wipe with Path of Peril, an older alchemy card, Bind to Secrecy, where you can counter-target non-creature spell, or you can conjure a duplicate of target creature card in an opponent's graveyard. Let's see, here we go. Pendragon Besieged. At the beginning of your end step, Choose a creature with the least toughness among creatures your opponents control. It perpetually gets -1/-1. So if it's like a 2/2, it becomes a 1/1. The next turn it becomes a 0/0. When it goes to your graveyard, it stays a 0/0. When your opponents control no creatures, sacrifice Pentagon Besieged. So you are either going to continue to plop soldiers down in an attempt to outrace this enchantment, or you're going to sit there and wait for your 0/4 creature to get destroyed to get rid of this enchantment and give your opponent 4 turns to build up his deck to counter the next thing that you're going to be sending at him. Lonely End, another one with memory, right? Target, if you weren't the starting player, you gain 2 life. That's the memory thing. So you don't need to remember that. The computer will automatically remember that for you. But you can remove 3 loyalty counters from target Planeswalker. And if the Planeswalker is low enough, that'll kill him. 2 go for the throat, 2 cast down for removal, 4 considers. Piece It Together is an alchemy card because of the intensity mechanic. Once you get to intensity 4, you get to take an extra turn, which is kind of cool. And if you have Conduit of the Arcane and you use one of those, you can bring it back instantly from the graveyard and use it again and start the intensity all over again or something, right? Rona's Vortex is a Dominia card, cut down for removal, and Mind Spike. So just a couple of sample alchemy cards in each deck, but the decks are kind of fun to play. I think the Reanimator one can be frustrating sometimes. The Soldier one seems like it should be, Soldier's kind of taken over some of the current meta, right? With as many creatures as they have it and all the synergies, it's turning into a version of a Goblin or an Elf deck, maybe to a certain degree. But there are ways to contain it. Let's see. Let's start here. Do black for that. We'll do the Scry. Rona's Vortex is a good card to have. Swamp is good. We don't want to put this down before they put a creature down. I'm not sure how Pentagon Besieged is going to work against the graveyard deck. We got 3 of those already. Alright, 3 lands and 1 Titan. Let's go ahead and kill it. Ta-da! And you can see with the purple annotated perpetual stuff, it's always going to be a 1/0. You could bring that back to your graveyard, and I guess it would maybe mill first before it instantly died. Too bad this doesn't also affect loyalty markers on Planeswalkers. That would be cool. But we do have a Lonely End already, so maybe we'll have a chance. A Forgefire Automaton already? Huh. Huh. Bye. What do we want to do next? I guess we want more land so we can use Rona's Vortex. Yeah. We want to keep our mana free to do stuff as needed. Undead Butler. Okay, they've got Diagraph Rebirth, which means all they need is land. And they got the Bone Collar. So we're going to kill the Bone Collar. And we're just going to piece things together. They get the Forge Fire back. Alright. You're not legendary. So you go away. Let's see, what else do we have coming up? A cut down. Yeah, sure. If they get 7 lands, though, we'll be in trouble, right? Diagraph Rebirth. Thankfully, it's the tapped one. They got all 4 of the Proving Grounds out. They'll be able to hardcast a Titan of Industry. This is gonna be gross. They're looking at the graveyard. Got a Titan there, got an Automaton you can still get back. They used the Perilous Iteration. Another Undead Butler. Ah, they lost a removal and 2 lands. That's good for us. We've gone through almost half their deck already. Hit me for 0. Yeah. What do we want to do? I guess piece it together. We'll draw another card. And now we might hold on to that island just for discard type stuff. Undead Butler dies. This is where they can bring something back to their hand. And they will. I'm guessing Titan. Or are they going to do the Automaton? They're going to do Olivia. Oh. Which they can hardcast. Okay, go for the throat. Saves us another turn. Congratulations, you get to do 1 point of damage to us. They discard the 2nd Titan of Industry. Ooh, counter target non-creature spell. Blah blah blah. Or conjure a duplicate of target in an opponent's graveyard into your hand. I don't have 7 mana yet. Let's hold on to that one. I guess we need to build up enough mana, right? If we want to take one of their good things. We'll get rid of his powers so he's not hurting us. They've got flashback on both Diagraph Reverse. So I think we're going to use Bind to Secrecy. Oh, they are hard casting that. Rona's Vortex. Auto pay. I think we're going to be stuck. Olivia comes down. I think we ran out of ammo here. There isn't really nothing left we can do against that, is there? So you can see once they get everything going, they had more. These didn't really help us without having the what we needed. So I can conjure a duplicate of, I mean, what? Titan of Industry? Whoop-de-doo. It goes to my hand, though, right? So, none of these are good enough. But we don't want to scoop, we want to watch them use the Alchemy card's ability and have fun. Because how cool is it to summon a Titan of Industry for free? And Mind of Secrecy wasn't that helpful with that, was it? We were guarding against the Diagraph Reburst, but he just had so much land that he got out. You were going to bring back a legend? Well, you're going to have to choose one, right? One of them has to go away. Now. Bring in the next Titan of Industry. Do I even have an Olivia yet? I need to get one. And what is the damage gonna be? See, so it took us a while to even get to 7 lands. Alright, so Reforged Monsters did pretty well. We did win with Rank and File. We won with Power Stones of Plenty. TikTok actually has some possibilities behind it if you can get the synergies going. I don't think we just didn't get a good enough deal going on there. But if you like any of these decks, remember you can always add to the deck. We can go in and look at it. And if you don't have the cards, you can craft them here. And when we go back here, add to decks. Whichever one you've selected, you can add to your deck if you like it. So that's where we're going to leave off. If you haven't played around with Alchemy, the cards are fun. The format's fun. I don't spend a lot of time on it because it's like yet another thing, and there's only so many hours in the day. I'm not irritated like some people are that they created Alchemy. I think it's natural to explore the digital-only landscape of Magic the Gathering. I think it's fun. They have some good cards that can do some interesting things. So I've got a handful of those Alchemy cards, and I'll go check out those packs. I'll open them up and see what neat things that I get. As a matter of fact, since we're here, let's go do a pack opening. Remember to like and subscribe. We're going to do just the Brothers War for the Alchemy specifically. There we go. So, Argothian Sprite can't be blocked by artifact creatures. Ashnod's Intervention. That's a wild card. Tanos Endures. This is an Alchemy card. Okay, exile target creature. It gains at the beginning of your upkeep. If this card is exiled, it perpetually gets +1/+1. Then you may put it onto the battlefield. If you exile the opponent's target creature, does it go back to the opponent's battlefield, or do you put it onto the battlefield for yourself? Hopefully you get to put it on for yourself. It's only 1 mana, so I'm guessing it's a way for you to pump up your creature. But that'll be interesting to test out. Scatter Ray, counter target artifact or creature spell unless its controller pays 4. Another uncommon wild card, a Springleaf Drum, which this is my first one that I've gotten, I think. Tap on tap creature you control. And Argothian Uprooting. That kind of goes off to the side, doesn't it? Put 2 +1/+1 counters on each of X target lands you control. They become 0/0 elemental creatures with reach, haste, and when this creature leaves the battlefield, conjure a card named Forest onto the battlefield tapped. They're still lands. Okay. That seems like it could be a powerful card. Shall we open more? You guys can leave if you want to. I'm going to open all of these. All of the Alchemy ones. Okay, Disfigure. Killzone Acrobat. This is my first copy of this. I don't have a lot of the Brothers War cards yet. Let's see. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, it gains flying. Atomical Scrapsmith I've got. Air Marshal I've got. And if you want to look at any of these in greater detail, you can always pause the video and look at it to your heart's content, or speed on through if I'm going too slowly for you. Our Giving Welcome is an alchemy card. Destroy to one target creature with power 4 or greater. Then choose a non-land card in your hand. It perpetually gains flash. See, I like that. Psychosis Crawler. Power and toughness equal to the number of cards in your hand. That's awesome. And, oh, Piece It Together. So we got our first copy of Piece It Together. Excellent. And a rare wild card. Energy Refractor. Warlord's Elite. Another Tpull Scrapsmith. Moment of Defiance. Target creature gains +2/+1 and gains lifelink, and then you draw a turn. I think that's my second Millstone. And we saw Hercule's Prodigy right in the TikTok deck. And Melt Through. Alchemy card. Deals 2 damage to any target. If it's a creature, it protects the gains as long as this creature is on the battlefield. Damage isn't removed from it during cleanup steps. Nice! I like the artwork. I like the flavor text. And they don't spend a lot of time on flavor text on alchemy cards, so I appreciate that. I appreciate both, because they, on some of the alchemy, like the specialized cards, they were using the same art for like 6 different cards that all had the same name but different abilities. This is some good art and good flavor. That's a lovely card. And a Great Desert Hellion. Starting intensity 1, 5/5 Hellion with Menace. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice it unless you discard a card. If you discard a card this way, perpetually increase the Hellion's intensity by 1. When it leaves the battlefield, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw cards equal to its intensity. Nice! See, the alchemy cards are fun. I don't have a lot of them, but when I do and I go play alchemy, I make sure to use those alchemy cards. Okay, Combat Courier, Fog of War. Tanos Endures, so that's the second one I got of that already, right? Evolving Wilds. My first Lodestone Golem. Non-artifact spells cost 1 more to cast. Our Giving Welcome again, so another alchemy card. We've got another copy. Crucius, Titan of the Waves. A mythic rare. 3/3 human pirate. At the beginning of your end step, you may discard a card. If you do, create a treasure token and choose Ambitious or Expedient. If you choose Ambitious, seek a card with greater mana value than the discarded card. If you choose Expedient, seek a card with lesser value than the discarded card. So, choices for you. Interesting. Argothian Opportunist, Disenchant, Yoshin Medic, Mishra's Juggernaut, Chromatic Star, that's either my second or third copy of that one. Assemble the Team. Search the top third of your library, round it up for a card, put that card in your hand, and then shuffle. Now see, I like that card. I would probably use that card. Urza's Construction Drone. 3/3 construct. When it enters the battlefield, conjure cards named Urza's Mind Power Plant and tower into your library, then shuffle. Whenever a drone attacks or dies, seek an Urza's land card. Oh, that is nice! If you're the Urza's Mind Power Plant and tower are from like more than 20 years ago, and so it was still early on into Magic's history, just a couple of years in when we got these. And I love to try and get enough copies out to make use of the extra mana. If you control all 3, you get to add 2, 3, and 2 mana, so you'd be adding 7 colorless mana instead of 3 if you had one of each of them down. So, yeah, that was fun. That makes me more predisposed to try out some alchemy more often than I've been doing, because I rarely do alchemy, just when they do events, really. Recommission. Return target artifact or creature card with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. If it enters the battlefield this way, it enters with an additional +1 counter on it. There's some neat shenanigans you can get to with that. Atomical Honor Guard. Disenchant again. Another Our Giving Welcome. That's 3 already for that alchemy card. And my first Lonely End, which we got to see in the game. which is, I kind of like the options on that for dealing with planeswalkers, so it's kind of cool, but it does have limits. And our first Yotian Courier, which is also one of the other cards. We didn't really get to play with it, it got killed too quickly. And first, Journeyer's Kite. Search your library for basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. Alright, that's all the cards we're going to open. If you stuck through this long, remember, like and subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with Tpull's Corner. And come back again another time, and we will do some more stuff. Thanks for joining me.